Hello, Mark Boyd at Bimini Road here for Aulys. So we're going to talk today about how to download a patch into Aulys, and then we're going to open it up. We're going to look at the UI that I've created for this kick drum module, and we're going to talk about how you can use the module library to design complex modules like this one yourself and put it in a pretty beautiful little package that is really fun to play with and very performance oriented. So okay, we're going to click on this little button that's up in the top in the corner underneath the battery, and we're going to click copy to Aulys 3. Now I already downloaded this from my email. You could download it from the forum, anything. It comes straight off of the iPad's browser. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to click here, copy to Aulys 3. Oops. Okay. And it shows up here in the corner, and there isn't a screenshot because the screenshot has to be generated when it comes back out, which I'll show you. See how it takes a screenshot of what it was seeing and then uses that as the screenshot. I'll come back in. So this is the Boom Bat. This is a work in progress. There are a few features that I still haven't put in it yet that need to be there, but the idea behind it was to make a really kind of trashy sounding but flexible drum machine that I could just pull up and use to create a whole wide range of analog style drum sounds. It works with the Euclidean sequencer, as you can see with these lengths and these hit here. And then this part is it controls like the volume envelope. It's basically like the pressure that they're putting on the drum, like virtually as they're kicking it. You can see we have a compressor. We even have tape simulation here. Wow and flutter. This thwip. It's kind of like an imaginary effect where you. I imagined this is like a drum machine where instead of being a real machine, you have a sample in your hands that's recorded on tape, and you're manually moving it back and forth over a tape playhead. That's the kind of sound I wanted to go for this and this drum machine. So it's not like this tape section is anything super special. It really just modulates the pitch of the kick drum voice and does a little filtering and some other little effects along the way. But this is supposed to be lo-fi and trashy and distorted and awesome, and I put a lot of time into making my UIs look sensible. They look pretty. You can look at it and it teaches you how to use it. They're grouped. So we have all the controls that control the kick go down like this. The beater, they go down like this. And the room reverb here, the spring reverbs like this. You can see the tape, wow, flutter, right? Press and tack release. And then across the top, we have the sequencer controls. This roll function introduces a jitter loop into here, and let's see, introduces some randomness. Okay. Oh, it didn't turn on. There we go. Forgot I turned it into a toggle switch. Cool. So, cool patch, right? Well, this isn't a tutorial on how to use this thing, even though it's just not finished yet. I will come out with a detailed tutorial on how to use this later. But you can see in here, everything here is created with these modules in the module library. Everything. And then it's just packaged together in this nice package. So you want to do that. Well, let's start. Whoops. I'm really used to the computer version, so forgive me if I'm a little slow on the iPad. Okay. Oops. Oh yeah, I have to go to nodes. Okay, we're going to go to subpatch. There we go. So we're going to drag the patch in. And this is an empty patch. You can think of this as a container or a box, and the box grows to accommodate however many controls you have on there. So that's the default small size. But as you move let's see if we can edit UI. As you move the controls around, the edge adapts to where the controls are. Okay. Okay, so lock UI. And then the locking allows you to manipulate the controls, otherwise you would be moving the elements around on top of the module. So go here, and let's just make a simple attenuator module. So we'll double click, and we're metaphorically inside that patch. You can think of it as a level down, and you can actually stack these levels. You know, I think I've gone, just to see how far I could go down, I stopped before the app even crashed. Must have gone like 200 layers down or something. So there's a lot of things that you can stack in here, and that it sounds ridiculous to have that many layers, but when you become a very advanced designer, you will start to need those 3, 4, 5 layers of things to just keep the design simple. It would actually be too much for the graphics engine to render all of the things that you have running in the patch. And that's saying a lot, because the graphics engine works very well. So we're going to delete this one. And we're going to go to the nodes for here, and down to level. We're going to do, let's do something more interesting. People are kind of confused about what the mapper does. So let's have the mapper and the, where's the, again, I'm sorry, I really do need to, I design on the computer all the time because it's, I feel it's much easier to work on very large patches on the computer. But you know, I really like the iPad for the performance. I love loading a completed patch onto the iPad and then playing with it. You know, it's great to just be able to directly manipulate the buttons, especially since I just have a little Keith McMillan QNexus keyboard. I don't have anything fancy like with a bunch of buttons that I can map to all these drum machine parameters. So what am I saying? Okay, we're gonna go down to utilities. Let me just, this is my advice. I'm lost. If you're lost in Aulys, just look around and forgive me for a second for not knowing exactly where everything is on the iPad. I actually rarely use nodes anymore to design stuff because I've put so many of the nodes into the modules that I just use the modules when I'm designing. Okay. Meter, mixer, no. Level. That's what I want. Do I want subpatch? That's what it is. It's new to me, so. Okay, we got the input, an output, and a knob. All right, and then the level. There we go. Oops. Level. There we go. You have to drag. I sometimes mix this up myself. You generally have to drag straight up. If you drag to the side, it might not recognize that you're pulling it out. We're going to work on that, make that a little more flexible. Okay, delete this one. I'm going to pull this mapper down to control this level. I'm going to hook up the input to the output. And this knob to here. And you can see this little red dot tracks where the knob is. And let's open a value node. I think that's under math, right? Nope. Meter, yes. Value. And let's pull another one. The value, okay. You can see the difference between the knob running through the scale mapper, or sorry, just the mapper, and the knob coming directly off. There, you can see how they're. You can make logarithmic curves this way, so you can make a volume knob that responds logarithmically. You can make envelopes with this. This is great for designing compressors. Obviously, you can, you know, it's adjustable knee basically. You can use it as a compressor or expander. But right now, we're just going to pop. Okay, let's see. Let's rename this. I'm going to name it level. I'm going to touch this patch. I'm going to click expose because we want that to come out to the front layer. These by default get exposed, but let's rename them because I just like the, I don't know, I just like the capitalize it, do in and out, a little simpler. You can rename these whatever they are. You know, sometimes it's you want to specify that it's an LFO output, that it's a Hertz output or input. Use those labels to tell people what signal it's expecting or putting out. Okay. And generally, this is just, maybe it's just me, I like to take the time to just make it look nice. You know, it makes it a little bit easier to read the design. See? So you can follow the signal flow better and understand what it's doing. We're going to come back out. So now we have all this stuff. Now it's all in a jumble because we have to organize it. So I clicked Edit UI, and that allows me to drag these elements around. I'm going to put this one up here. And notice they're on layers. So sometimes you want to click on one thing, but when it's on top of the other, it's difficult. But you just have to get used to, so I like to just throw things around and then bring them back as I want them. So I like this is going to be the centerpiece of the module. So I'll move that one up there first. The inputs and the outputs, the level. And you know, you don't want to put the level over the mapper because you won't be able to press in the middle of this knob. I'll show you. Lock the UI. You see, but I can't get to that edit point to move the spline anymore. So you want to put it in a sensible place that's out of the way of the other parts. Okay. I'm gonna lock the UI. See, now I can edit this point again and change the depth. So what does this do? We're going to go back to level. Or actually, you can just double click on an input and assign a number. So we're going to put 1 here. And we'll go back to meter. Waveform. Pull this out. Okay, let's get an LFO controlling this. You'll be able to, it'll illustrate the, pardon me. Remember, I always keep forgetting this. You have to click off of the tags on the button. You can't just click somewhere else. You have to click directly on the tag button and get that out. So do the sign. Okay. And just like anything, you can modulate the knobs directly. We'll turn down the hertz. So there you go. You got the logarithmic curve going on. Let's change it around. And you see, again, even that point disappears, and you just get the curve when you zoom out far enough. This indicates that you can't edit things in knobs directly. You can just move stuff around. So if you were confused about what this node was for, which I was for a long time, this is one thing that it can do, that you can modulate a signal coming in with a logarithmic curve. You know, it behaves differently if you have different LFOs controlling it. See how that looks different than the part that's over at the end. So that's the basics. You know, let's name this module, all right? So let's go to utilities, right? Where am I? There we go. Okay. Pull the text out, and this is notice this is a new multi-line text. If you pull it in, you can define the range. This is kind of useful if you want to put some, more visual text-based art and stuff on your UI. You can do that too. You can make ASCII, however you pronounce that, ASCII art, and use that to decorate your module. I like to keep it simple. I just like to keep it performance-oriented and with just a little bit of visual feedback that's fun. I go to the set text. Go to log. I don't know. We'll just do the mapper. because it's not really just log. Okay. And then we have to expose this as well. Clicking expose there. So now it appears there as an element. To click edit UI again to move that around. And then, you know, in the module library, I would put it up in the corner like that. And then always remember when you're done designing and you're going to upload a patch to the forum to share with people, remember to lock the UI, just because it's, you know, it's an easy thing to forget. And someone could start to go play with it, and then, you know, the UI gets messed up and they have to reload the patch or something. So that's it. You know, the fundamentals that I just taught you about this, that's all that I needed to know to make this. The little more complex things, like moving around these LEDs, yeah, it takes time. Those are some extra ones that I have in there that I was going to put around in different places. But you know, you want to develop your own style. You don't have to design like I do or lay out things like I do. You can space the knobs a little further apart. I like grouping them closer in, especially because I know people are going to be using this on the iPad and iPhone, and I want you to be able to control as many parameters at once without running into that that point at which the point of no control when you zoom out too far. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, you can always email us at support and find us on Facebook, but I really encourage people to go onto the forum and ask your question there, because as you might expect, we get a lot of the same question over and over again, and that's fine. You know, there's no way to get around that. That's other than if we have that conversation over at the forum, then maybe people who know, you know, go to the forum for answers. You will always get the quickest answer on the forum, because not only Taylor and I am monitoring it all day, but other people, other users are on there too, and they might even beat us to the punch in answering your question. So thank you for watching. Thanks for bearing with me, and we'll talk soon.